So hello, my name is Victor Martín Gorgojo. I'm an orthopedics and traumatology resident from Valencia, Spain.
Hi, my name is Gisberto Evangelisti. I'm a spine surgeon from Bologna, Italy.
And I'm Franziska Altorfer, orthopedic resident and spine surgeon from Switzerland as well. And we are all members of the new AO Spine Youth Club. Welcome to the Expert Insight series, where we interview worldwide expert spine surgeons who kindly share their professional and personal experience with us aspiring spine surgeons.
In this interview, we are honored to be joined by Dr. Pedro Berjano, who is currently the co-chairman of the G-Spine 4 division at the Ospedale Galeazzi San Ambrogio in Milan, Italy. And he holds the elected position of chair of the Regional Board Europe and Southern Africa at AO Spine. And moreover, he is a very special person for us, since he is, together with Dr. Cecchinato, the current AO CSA Board Community Development Officer, one of our mentors and promoters of this exciting initiative that we call the AO Spine Youth Club.
So Dr. Berjano is widely regarded within the spine surgery community. He's recognized as an authority in advanced technique in minimally invasive spine surgery and adult spine deformity. His academic impact and influence over the clinical practice is clear, publishing more than 170 scientific articles in high-impact journals that have changed many of the current paradigm in spine surgery.
So, good afternoon, Dr. Berjano. Thank you for accepting our invitation. Let's start our interview. Before we begin, would you mind telling us your full name, specialty, and current position?
Yes, good afternoon, Franziska, Gisberto, and Victor. My name is Pedro Berjano, as Victor very nicely pronounced, and I'm an orthopedic spine surgeon, and I work in Milano, Italy.
Thank you. So could you share a bit about your roots? What's your hometown?
Yes, of course. I'm the child of a clerk and of the school teacher in southern Spain, in Granada, one of the most beautiful towns in southern Spain. And there is where I was grown. There is where I went to the university and when I started the beginning of my career.
And where did you undergo training and when did you complete your residency?
Yes, I finished my university degree in Granada, and then I engaged in my first residency in family medicine and community medicine. I completed also part of my PhD program in public health and epidemiology, and then I moved to Madrid for completing my residency in orthopedics in Madrid. And there is where I went to become a knee surgeon. I wanted to become a knee surgeon. And there's where the first day I felt in the hospital, I was assigned to the spine surgery theater. And that's it. That's it.
Wow. So why did you choose in the end spine surgery?
Well, I think that spine surgery chose me because I was just placed into that theater. And I think that I like to quote a very famous Spanish urologist, Dr. Puigvert. Dr. Puigvert, when I was a student, he was like 90, and he was an extremely achieved urologist. And one interviewer was asking him, and now, Dr. Puigvert, where did you feel the vocation to become a neurologist? And he said, well, there's no vocation. I just started doing that. And when you do that, and when you do that with passion, at the end, it takes you and it engages you. And I think that that's happened to me with spine surgery. I was very lucky to be welcomed by a group of very nice people, very active and very thoughtful spine surgeons. And there were challenges. They were working on resolving problems that at that time were unsolved. And I became fascinated and I sort of became part of this attempt to create new solutions. I remember that the first time I was in my spine OR, my older colleagues were doing the reduction of the spine fracture, thoracolumbar spine fracture, and there were no good tools to tighten the nuts while you were keeping the reduction. So I went back home. I passed by the hardware shop and I bought some tools and I spent all the night drilling them to make hollow
Yes.
wrenches to solve that problem. Next day, I went to the OR and said, "We can sterilize this. I think this is going to help." So
Let's
it's
do
not
it.
to tell that I'm a nice guy. It's to tell that when you have a problem to solve and you are given the opportunity to be part of the solution, I think that's one of the things that you can feel more blessed of in your life.
You are totally right. And talking about your past, do you have any mentor, any person who has inspired you the most to become the person you are now?
Yeah, of course. I'm very ready always to answer to this question, and I will mention you three of those. There are some
Okay.
more, but three of those are very important in medicine and in surgery. The first one, his name is Lorenzo Rivas. He was my mentor in family medicine, and he taught me how to be a good doctor, how to use ethics in our work, how to take care of your patients and not take care of your interest. And he also taught me how to write a scientific article. He taught me how to be properly dressed to present in front of your patients. And he taught me how to ski in the wilderness with the skins and how to climb mountains. So a lot of good things he told me. Second one, the guy I fell next to in that spine surgery OR. His name is Rafael Cruz Conde. Now Rafa is retired in Madrid, and he has been illuminating my thoughts and giving me the possibility to develop during all my residency and the years to follow. I spent every day after the hospital in his office, sitting next to you, learning on how to deal with patients. He was my second mentor. And the third one, of course, is my current partner, Claudio Lamartina. He is one extremely clever and extremely exigent spine surgeon, and he has been inspiring me as a mentor first and now as a partner. He's still pushing me and challenging me.
Wow. And will you be able to give us some advice about work and personal life balance?
Do you have another question?
No. We do.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I will answer to
it's
you.
a hot topic for us.
It's a hot topic.
Yeah.
Yes. For that our business, our work, it takes a lot of time, a lot of commitment, and it's always a difficult balance, personal life and work life. And I think that there is no solution to work little and become great, and there is no solution to spend little time and effort with your family and do great with them. So at the end, I think that what is very important is trying to keep awakened, to keep understand that your work is going to call you all the time. It's going to take you all the time. So you have to learn to put some barriers and to say sometimes I could be working a little bit more, but I will give some time to my family or to things I like to do and that relax me and that make my mind become more productive too. So I think that putting some barriers is important and learning. Sometimes this barrier is going to be taller and sometimes it's going to be smaller, but sometimes you have to learn to say stop. The second thing is when you have friends and family, sometimes you cannot devote them all the time you could, but you can devote them significant and quality time. So you have a partner, well, you spend time with them, bring a lot of times flowers or bring a lot of times 2 tickets for going to see a movie. Because when you do things special, it's much better than just spending time together. So sometimes you cannot give all the time you want, but you can put some pieces of special time with them. And I don't know, guys, if maybe you can give me advice on this too.
No, that's a good advice because actually when I stop working and say, okay, I'm going home earlier, then I go home and I think about what I didn't do at work. So it's not a quality time. I mean, I spend time, but then I'm thinking to my job or articles or whatever. So yeah, you're right about trying to organize something special.
It's also a dynamic thing. It's not
Yeah.
all over the time that you say, like, now we are young, we want to focus on our career. Maybe at a certain time point in life, we do not have to spend that much time anymore because we already learned how to operate, so we can delegate some tasks. But right now, I think it's just important to dive all in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we assume that every professional surgeon has one memorable case. Do you have one as well?
Yeah, I have many memorable cases, but I every time that someone asks me about a memorable case, I think that the most memorable cases are those who were the saddest. These are I especially remember one lady that she had to undergo a very difficult surgery because of complications of neurofibromatosis, and unfortunately, she became paraplegic after the surgery. And I think that's one of my most memorable cases because despite I did a lot of excellent moves and a lot of planification and a lot of concentration in the surgery, at the end, I couldn't help her and I contributed to make her life worse. So that's the case I remember every Christmas time. That's the case that tells me that, yeah, we do fancy things, but we are human. We have to consider that too.
That's very honest. That's very honest. Thank you for that.
So going back to what I said at the beginning, we know that you are currently the AO Spine chairman for Europe and Southern Africa. Do you think it's important for a spine surgeon to be a part of an academic and scientific community like AO Spine? And in which way did AO Spine influence your career, Dr. Berjano?
Okay, first the serious answer. Of course, I think that having an academic dimension in your work makes you a better surgeon. Despite articles don't apparently translate into instruments, but of course, having a research interest, having academic interest make of you a more thoughtful, a more relevant surgeon, a better informed one. So you become a better surgeon, of course. So I think that having an academic side in your career is fundamental. Second thing, having a community where you can share experiences, learn from each other. That's, I think, the most important thing that you can have in your life. When you have a good network of people you esteem who are at a higher level in their career, at the same level as you, or in the future in a lower level of your career, is what is going to make your professional life richer. You are going to get more input, you are going to improve much more. And now I have to give you the funny answer, which is very serious too. You have to be a member of AO Spine, and there is a reason for that. This is the reason why I joined AO Spine. My past mentor and now my partner, Claudia Martina, told me, you have to join them. And I said, why? And she said, well, because when I go to these meetings of AO Spine, I meet people I sit in a table with people who are as clever or more than I am. And that's not very frequent. He's not a shy guy. And it's true, he is very clever. So that's why you should become members of AO Spine. You guys are members. Anyone who is listening to us, this is the best community to be part of.
Definitely. So join AO Spine.
Join.
So you are a worldwide recognized research and educational leader. You touch base a lot with fellows and residents. Is there a character that you think is typical of a great surgeon? So can you say that fellow is going to be a good surgeon? Is there something that tells you this thing?
I can tell you that I see who is going to become special. I see that. I don't know if it's only one characteristic, but I can tell you how are people who are special. People who are special many times are curious. They ask you what, and they ask you why. Because if they only ask you what, they learn for this case. But if they ask you why, they are making their thinking system and they are preparing their mind to face different situations with the same tools. So they are curious. Second thing, people who are special work an extra mile. They work an extra mile in two ways. They work a little bit more or much more, but they also work better with more quality. And that's very important. Spending time in your work is important. Spending time in a explicit way, with all your mind activated in it, thoughtfully reflecting on your actions, reflecting after your actions, that makes a big difference. Another characteristics of people who become special, they are fellows. They go to visit other colleagues, they go to have different experience. And do they become special because they go for fellowships or for visitorships or vice versa? I think it's both. So if you have that push to go and seek, you are a little bit special, but then you have opportunities in these experiences that really put you to another level. And I think that you guys are good examples of this, and you can tell the others how this happens. So I think, yes, there are people who are special, and this is not because they are more clever, but because they are more curious, work a little bit more, work harder, see more people, and meet more colleagues.
Thank you.
Wow. So you mentioned the why are we doing this? What is, in your opinion, the biggest gap of knowledge we have right now in spine surgery? Is there something?
We have a lot of gap knowledges in spine surgery, but I could not tell you which one is the biggest, but I think that there are several fields. One big field is biology. Biology. I think that hopefully one day we will be able to give a pill, a boy or a girl, to stop scoliosis. That's a big gap, but I don't know if this is going to happen soon, if we are going to see that. Second big gap is on material science. In some cases, when I do every time I do a adult deformity case, I understand that I'm using tools that are not made for these cases. We are using pediatric tools for treating adult cases. So material science is going to give us more alternatives with better behavior, with better interface with the biology and with the biomechanics. And I think that is going to be a relevant part of it. Just to cite you three things, I think that the third gap we have is understanding better the patient. So we have two places of work. The first workplace is the OR, the second workplace is the office. And here is where you start having your results, your surgical results, by selecting the patients, by understanding what procedure is going to match better the patient. And the patient is a body, but it's also expectations, behavior, thoughts, fears. So understanding that better and being able to, we can diagnose this herniation. We cannot diagnose these biopsychosocial things in our patients. It would be very helpful.
All right. And in this sense, do you think there are any trends in spine surgery that might be getting out of fashion, and some trends that might stand the test of time, that will always be there? Like, for example, fusion surgery, or do you have any thoughts on this?
Well, fusion surgery, I wish it was over in the future, that we didn't need it. But the reality is that fusion surgery solves a lot of problems. And as for today, with the complexity of the problems that we treat with fusion, imagining a different kind of treatment is difficult to me. So I wish that we can go beyond fusion surgery, but by now it doesn't seem very near to us, very likely it's going to happen. One very interesting trend is endoscopic surgery. I think endoscopic surgery probably is going to remain. It has been showing because of technical development. When I started trying to do a foraminoscopy in the 90s, it was impossible to see anything because the tools were completely inefficient. Today, technically, the tools are miniaturized, they are very efficient, but also the effort of some pioneers has been able to determine what are the steps to do the procedures, how to implement them. And I think now this is going to be here to stay. And that's a good trend. And I would like to mention a third one. I listened to a very nice interview you had with Larry Lenke, and he mentioned his perplexity about one technology, which is non-fusion surgery for scoliosis. In the same, I think that this is something to keep an eye on because, well, we all recognize that it's very promising. It will be an excellent thing if it works. Some of us think it's probably not going to work. Some of us think probably it might work. I'm on that side. I think that probably it might work. And well, let's do some sci-fi and think into the future. For my adult cases with sagittal imbalance, who I have now to choose if having a spine good for sitting or good for standing, but no motion, I like to imagine that we can make like, Iron Man? Iron Man, yes. So having your exoskeleton attached to spikes coming from your bone, and then you have this exoskeleton who is going to keep you upright or who is going to bend you when you need, and it's going to be a better life. And then you touch a button or say, hey, get out of me, and it goes to the wardrobe and self stores itself. That I think it's sci-fi, so it's not fantasy. It can happen in the future.
And coming back to your career, is there an achievement you're most proud of?
Yes, I think that the achievement I'm most proud of is the team we have built. Because years ago, when I met Claudio Lamartina and we decided to work together, we had a very tiny team. And now it's like 12 years later, and we have a group of surgeons working with us who are very clever, very active, extremely committed, with the best changing room experience you can have with people working together, extremely cohesive with each other, supporting each other very nice. So I think that's my best contribution or the achievement I'm most proud of. Nice. It's about first people.
Nice. So in this sense, now you have a great career, a great team. If you could turn back time, what advice would you give the young spine surgeon yourself?
I think I would give the advice to, well, when I described you what makes a young surgeon special, I think these are the things I would suggest people to do. To work one more mile, to work one piece better or two pieces better, to be curious, to ask what and why, to think about your own solutions. It never minds if you are wrong the first or the second time, but think and try to figure out new solutions and see around, go around and travel. When I was a student in my high school, I had the best philosophy lesson in my life. It was about the etymology of idiot. The etymology of idiot is the Greek word idios, which is place. place. So an idiot is someone who only knows his or her own place.
Wow.
So what is the vaccination, the immunization against idiocy? Travel, see around, but travel with your mind, with your eyes open, embracing and learning from what you are seeing. So yeah, prevent idiocy, travel and meet other people.
That's a great advice. So we have come to the end, and before we finish, we would like to play a little game, a very quick game in which we ask you a question and you reply with a fast and short answer. Okay? So
Good.
if you are ready, we will start. You're ready?
Ready.
So your favorite hobby? Your hobby?
Oh, my favorite hobby is spending time in the mountains.
No.
Your favorite book?
My favorite book, two books. Gabriel García Márquez, 100 años de soledad, 100 years of loneliness, I think is the title. I think it's the best book in Spanish ever written, better than Cervantes, better than Don Quixote. And the second book, a very small one, but you all guys need to read, the Checklist Manifesto. It's essential for any surgeon to read.
Okay.
What's your favorite food?
My favorite food. I like every food, but yes, pizza, sandwiches, spaghetti.
Get in Italian.
Exactly. Your favorite surgery?
The most elegant, predictable, nice to do for me is ALIF. ALIF is my favorite surgery in that sense. But also my favorite one is a very challenging deformity case. I have to put all my brain in, both.
And now some questions that navigation or freehand?
Freehand and navigation. You have to learn how to use freehand, and then it's better that you get very well used to navigation.
And open or MIS surgery or minimally invasive?
When it's MIS, MIS. When it's open, real open. Yeah, both them.
And the last question, a word that defines spine surgery?
For me, it's challenge. Challenge, every time challenge.
Challenge. Thank you so much.
So thank you so much for joining us today and for being a source of inspiration and motivation for young surgeons of our AO Spine Youth Club.
Yeah, it has been a true privilege. Thank you very much.
Thank you
very
so much.
It's me thanking you guys for doing all this effort, for moving things around, and for having young people getting together to go to the next level. Thank you very much.